Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pop Art Hunter channel, and today we've got something special for you. This is a you've seen it here first. You've seen it here ever, period, because I don't think anybody else has these. I think I'm the only one that owns them. It's from an older movie. You might remember it. I loved it when I was a kid. It's called Austin Powers 2, and this particular piece is the original advertising portfolio as they were making the posters and the concept art from this particular show. Now, I have the original advertising portfolio. You can see in the corner here, Austin Powers 2. Dazu, I'm not sure how you pronounce that company specifically, but this is the actual portfolio that I received it in originally, but then I actually took the pieces out of the portfolio and put it into some archival quality portfolios that were a little bit easier to view and flip through. So today we're going to be looking at some of the pieces. I'm not going to go through all of them. There's like over 200 pieces, so we might do another video where we take apart and piece together some things, but we're going to be looking at some pretty cool pieces. This contains stuff that you, again, have likely never seen. It also contains pieces that are pretty neat because they were actually before some final decisions were made in the movie, and also even when the title of the movie was not the same as it ended up. So let's go ahead and get started. So as I said, this is the original portfolio where the prints came in. As you can see, it's got Austin Powers 2 in the corner, New Line Cinema, and Dazu, I don't know how you pronounce that exactly. It's got little notations and marks on it. I don't know how to pronounce it. However, this was the portfolio that it came in. And the reason I took the prints out is, again, they were without any sort of sleeves or protection on it, and they were just put within this wire holder here through hole punches. And so I didn't want them to get damaged even further. It was harder to flip through them to view them. Once you did do that, you get fingerprints on them, you could tear them and all those things. So I put them in archival quality folders so that I would be able to not only view them easier, but also show other people easier and also protect them a little bit more. So I actually have 4 of these portfolios, 4 of that size, and then 2 of this size with different prints in it. There's over 200 different prints that came in this portfolio. I got it many years ago, and I'm going to show you some of them. Again, I'm not going to show you everything that's in here, but I'm going to give you a sense of what is sort of in there. And then a couple key pieces I think are pretty cool. So there's some of these original sketch mock-up sheets that have multiple different sketch versions of the various posters and prints that they decided that they were going to look at. So, you know, obviously in this scenario, they would have come up with these different options, and then, you know, New Line or the executives or Mike Myers or whomever would be in the room would say, oh yeah, I really like, you know, A4 and A6 and A9. Why don't you go ahead and mock those up in color and get, you know, us a better version of that so we can see what it looks like. So there's some pretty neat different sketches and mock-ups here. And again, I'm not going to show you everything, but you know, this just kind of shows you the different things they have here. You have Austin with a little 2 in his tooth for Austin Powers 2. You have the traditional belt look and Austin actually hanging off the zipper here. You have Austin in one of these little egg chairs. I think, you know, Dr. Evil was in one of the egg chairs. The 2 is made in a bed with Austin and a lady friend. So they got all sorts of different, you know, versions of posters that they would have made. And also, in addition to that, you know, then they have some stuff in this portfolio that shows you how they actually came up with the design for this or some of the things that inspired it. And so, you know, if you look at Paul Newman here and Cool Hand Luke, and they sort of tried to mimic that sort of style of poster with that background and sort of that profile of his face, the profile of the body, and then leading into the 2. And then, you know, in this particular poster, they use, you know, these images to kind of say, you know, this is kind of what we're wanting to look at, like those silhouettes. And so there's quite a few pages in this portfolio that, you know, shows the different styles of that. And then there's also the color versions of some of the posters that they did, which I'll show you, you know, full color versions of, or I'm sorry, full size versions of these color posters. But you had the black and white sketches, and then you have the color versions of some of these, which are really cool. And again, most of them unseen; they weren't actually used. And then you have some of this more elaborate, you know, in-depth look at how they inspired the different drawings and things they did, things that brought them inspiration. And they would even have, I believe these are individuals probably from that production studio that were modeling this so that then someone who was mocking it up kind of knew the pose that they wanted for that. So I don't know, pretty cool. I just like the way this is set up. There's the next portfolio has more of that inspiration type of stuff in here. And then we get into some of the full-size posters. But also, one of the things this company did was not only the posters, but they also did movie theater, like cardboard standees and those different things and some of the interactive elements. They also did things like t-shirts and buttons and things like that. And so you have the original sketches, or not original sketches, but the original concepts of these buttons. This might be worn by, movie theater workers and things like that. And then later we'll get into some of the pieces that show the like the cardboard standees and some of the pieces that would have been inside of the movie theater and that you might have even seen if you were there. So there's more of that. And then let's get to some of the full-size pieces. So I'm only going to show you a few of these because, again, we gotta space this out a little bit. I can't show you every single piece. The video would be 2 hours long. But then also I want to make sure I save a couple because I think this is something that you might enjoy for the future, diving into a few of these, especially if you're an Austin Powers fan. This poster is actually pretty cool because if you look at this, it might look familiar to you. I don't think this was ever released in any fashion. Now, obviously, some of these might have been refitted or used for maybe some other countries as a different style. I don't remember ever seeing this, but it looks familiar because this is actually the exact same style as Austin Powers and Goldmember's teaser poster. It was a gold poster with some like speckled gold lettering for Goldmember, and it had a pair of legs and Austin below them just like that. So the poster is almost identical to this, and that was a poster that was actually recalled. So I actually have that poster somewhere in my collection. It's in a roller somewhere. I don't have it actually displayed. My girlfriend happens to hate Austin Powers, and so I cannot have it hanging in the house. So she despises it, and so I actually have that poster somewhere. But that poster was actually recalled because of some disputes that New Line had, I believe, with MGM. I think MGM is a holder of what do you call it, James Bond? So James Bond, they said that the names The Spy Who Shagged Me was infringing upon the names created by MGM, and so the first lawsuit with Spy Who Shagged Me, I believe that New Line won, and then the second one with Goldmember, they actually, I believe, lost, and there was an agreement made with them afterwards. But originally the Goldmember poster was pulled, so that teaser poster was originally pulled. They were actually going to consider changing the name of the movie, which might have even changed some other elements. They might have had to reshoot and change things within it when they referenced Goldmember. So anyway, they ended up making a deal, I believe, to show the trailer of the new James Bond film at Austin Powers and Goldmember, so that would advertise that, and they end up, the rest is history. But anyway, this poster is almost identical to that one, and so it's kind of neat to see, like, years before Goldmember came out, they had almost the poster design for the teaser already done. They said, hey, let's go back to that one poster we had before. Can we look at some of those old designs? And so I think that's a really cool one. This one I really like because it's in this old sort of style. It's got that kind of classic box art or classic movie poster art from the heyday of Hollywood. So I like that kind of sketch and drawn feel. And then this next one here might be my favorite one from this particular set of collection. Not favorite design wise, but favorite because of the history of it. If you noticed, it says Dr. Evil is back, and you have Mike Myers as Dr. Evil, and then you have Mike Myers as Mini-Me. So before Vern Troyer was hired, Mike Myers was actually going to be digitally enhanced in the movie, or digitally shrunk, unenhanced, for the movie to actually play Mini-Me himself. They found Vern Troyer, they hired him, he became Mini-Me, the rest is history. But originally they were going to have Mike Myers, and so this is a concept piece of Mike Myers as Mini-Me, which I don't think is really out there. I don't think really, that has been seen too often. You get more into some of these posters. These are actually some of the posters that were in the movie theaters. I actually own a couple of these. And so as you see, they got a little bit more firmer. They had, cut lines and everything. They were getting, I think, a little bit more into the, hey, this is what we're going to be using. So this was actually used as the teaser poster. They had an Austin version of this. I think they, I know within this portfolio, they have a Mr. Bigglesworth version, but I don't know if that was actually used in theaters or not. I'm just flipping through here because there's a couple other posters that I thought were kind of cool. And some of these you might remember in some of the sketch artwork that I showed you. I'm not seeing the ones I like. Let's go ahead to the next portfolio. I think that there's... Oh, this one. So I like this one, and I actually think they might have used this design in maybe another country, because I feel like I've seen this before, but maybe I saw it in this portfolio. So, I got this many decades ago, and so maybe I saw it in here, and then I'm remembering it as maybe something from some other movie. So I really like that one as well. And then again, like I showed you that Cool Hand Luke mock-up. This one kind of follows that same form, kind of that ripple effect from the characters. And so you can see, again, where some of that inspiration came from there. But yeah, some pretty cool posters, because one, you got... the kind of gold member teaser, then you got the one with Mike Myers as Mini-Me, and then we move into the smaller portfolios, which have just titling artwork sequences. So here's, look at Austin Powers 2, the title, with different concepts. Austin as a figure versus him with, the figure kind of as a punch out within the number 2. And they just go through different versions of these. And so this might seem a little mundane and not as interesting. But the one thing that's cool about this, you will notice there's a lot of different shapes. There's some corny ones here, like Austin with his teeth. I didn't like that one as much, so it's good they didn't go with that. But here's the gem of these small portfolios. We're going to come back to those. Here's the gem. Austin Powers 2, The Wrath of Khan. So before it was The Spy Who Shagged Me, it was The Wrath of Khan. And the original script was written as Austin Powers 2, The Wrath of Khan, and they ended up changing the name. But these are concept arts of the titling with the original Wrath of Khan. And these are actually kind of cool because they also have little notes on it. This one says no here. I don't know if you can see that with the shine. And this one says okay. So they actually said, nah, we don't like this one, but yeah, okay, we like that one. So it kind of shows you that process of going through. But yeah, to have some original Wrath of Khan pieces, I think is pretty cool as well. And I'll show you last few things here. This is an example of that movie standee that I was talking about. And so here you have, I think, I'm assuming this is a henchman or, one of the workers in Dr. Evil's lair or something like that. And here's a fembot. And they actually have cutouts in their heads. And so people could walk up to the standees, put their head in there and have pictures taken. I don't recall this in the movie theaters at all. I do recall something similar to this. They actually had a more elaborate version of this, I believe, with Dr. Evil and Mini-Me and some other characters. But this was actually something, if it wasn't made exactly to spec like this, it might have been like this in some theaters, but I believe they have it more elaborate with more characters in other ones. But they even did things like, what the wall art's going to be, what is the carpeting going to be in those areas. And the drawings are just really detailed and cool in those. Lots of different versions of this. They even have one that's interactive. They have a Twister game that could be interactive within the movie theater. So pretty cool stuff there. And then again, within the rest of this, you have some things like buttons. This one was actually shakers they were going to be making, margarita mix. So they have different... designs for some of those things that have, along with, those Wrath of Khan ones that I absolutely love. People derive enjoyment for their collections for a variety of reasons. They like to look at their pieces. They like the thrill of the hunt and finding the pieces. They like different aspects of it. And I like all of those the same way too. But one thing I really like, and I think some collectors really enjoy, is that exclusivity. I like being able to own like an original animation cell and be like, this is, one cell and that was it. That they only made this one cell. They might have other similars to it because they were doing it within a scene with multiple frames per second. Or if you get a Keymaster background, that's the only one. That's the only one that was produced. And with this particular piece, I feel like I own something that nobody else does. And it gives you a little bit of a peek behind the curtain as far as the development of, some of these pieces of really art. You look at some of the posters from various movies and they're collector's pieces now. And so, this particular movie, the posters that came out and that you saw maybe weren't what the original concepts were like. And it's pretty cool to see how that happened over the course of this development process of changing and adjusting. So cool pieces. We looked at a few of them today. We might look at some more in the future. Again, this collection has over 200 of them in there. I did unbind it from that original book to put them in the portfolio so you could see them better. And so maybe I'll find out a few pieces and nuggets and show you in another video. But I like this piece. If you like Austin Powers, hopefully you like it too. And eventually, if I ever decide to part with this, I hope to sell it in one collection. But I guess I could piece it out and let more people enjoy it, spread the love. I don't know. It's a tough choice because I really do like to keep things together. But thanks for watching the Pop Art Hunter channel. We have other videos just like this, so make sure you watch those, comment down below, and I'd love to chat with you about the variety of collections you might have or what you might think about this particular piece. You can also subscribe so you get notifications in the future. Thanks for watching the Pop Art Hunter channel, and we will see you next time.